They'll never take me alive. I'm getting high with my profile. Cops only suck the time I die. Even as a youngster, causing ruckus on the back of the bus. I was a fool all through high school, kicking up dust. But now I'm labeled as a troublemaker. Who can you blame? Smoking weed up, we take away the pain. So I'm hopeless, rolling down the freeway, swerving. Don't worry, I'm about to crash upon the curb. Cause my business bloody, baby. If they tried to understand me, what should I do? I had to feed my fucking family. What else could I do? Or be a thug? I'm slanging with the homies, fuck hanging with them phonies in the club. Got my mind on danger. Never been a stranger to homicide. My city's full of gangbangers and drive-bys. Why do we die at an early age? He was so young, but still a victim of 12 gauge. I'm memories of a corpse, mind full of sick thoughts, and I ain't going back to court. So fuck what you thought. I'm drinking Hennessy, running from my enemies when I live a beat 23. There's so much pain.
(2024), it's our final battle. We're either going to have a country greater than ever before, or we're not going to have a country at all. And we're ready for it. Are we ready? We're ready.
Damn, who knew? All the planes we flew, good things we've been through. That I'll be standing right here talking to you about another path. I know we love to hit the road and laugh, but something told me that it wouldn't last. Had to switch up, look at things different, see the bigger picture.
You must never forget this nation does not belong to them. This nation belongs to you. This is your home. This is your heritage. And our American liberty is your God-given right.
How can we not talk about family when family's all that we got? Everything I went through, you were standing there by my side. And now you're gonna be with me for the last one.
Welcome in, everyone. How was everyone's Monday? And I muted it this time, so I got it right. Good to see everybody. Hey, Grandma. Good to see everyone. Everybody coming in. Well, Rumble was down for a lot of today, but hopefully they got all the little bugs fixed that needed to be fixed in there. So everything should be up and running. We have a guest tonight. Everyone, welcome Gravel. Hey, Gravel. He'll be here momentarily. But on another note, it's a very sad day for one mother. Very sad. But we'll start with this one. Police revealed that this illegal immigrant, Victor Hernandez, he was the one who raped and murdered the Maryland mother of 5, Rachel Marone. Also raped a 9-year-old little girl prior to that. They are invading our country to rape our women, children, while most men sit back and do nothing. That's what Matt Wallace has stated. See, they've gotten in a lot of trouble. And see, in other countries, you get beheaded. You get killed. You, in so many ways, that happens. And I think they're running and coming to America. And I do believe partially that is a bit true, that they're coming after the women and children. I absolutely do. There you are, Gravel. Hey.
Hang on, give me. Let me work on my volume here.
You're good. I hear you. I don't know. You might not be able to hear me very well. But yeah, Matt Wallace, I believe, is absolutely right that, well, we'll go in a little bit further. I'll read a little bit of the story. Bel Air MD. Victor Antonio Hernandez, the alleged killer of Rachel Marin, and been in Maryland for months after she was reported missing on August 5th of 2023. Victor Antonio Martinez Hernandez, the alleged killer of Rachel, had been in Maryland for months after Marin been reported missing on August 5th. On June 13th, according to the charging documents, family members said that Hernandez had been staying with them in Maryland from December to 2023 to May of 2024. He was recently arrested in Tulsa, Oklahoma last Friday night on June 14th. This leaves the 4-month gap from August 6th, when Marin's body was found, to when Victor began staying with family in Maryland, and it is surrounded by a mystery. Investigators say that the family turned over the things he left in the home after he took off in May of 2024: 2 bags of clothes and a pair of shoes. It's awfully sad, and we're gonna watch one more video in a minute of the little girls, of the other young child that was. Let me pull it up. Let's see. Good man, I'm learning all this tech savvy. But here's Rachel's. Let's see. Let me go this way.
Here. We care about you.
What is your message as her mother to the justice system?
Please don't fail us. Please don't let us down. The city of Houston has done everything in their power to bring this to light, and now it's the justice system to do their part as well. It's a community effort. It's a partnership. We all have to follow through, and we all need to give them their punishments that they deserve, because my baby didn't deserve this.
What do you hope that punishment is?
That they receive worse than what my daughter did, because she deserves to live and breathe every single day. I was looking forward to seeing how beautiful she was going to grow up to be, and I know God is real, God is good, and they will feel God's wrath.
And can you just explain what Forever 12 is on your shirt?
Forever 12, she'll never be a teenager, so she'll forever be 12.
For people that didn't know your daughter, how would you like for them to remember her? How would you like them to, when they hear her name, what would you like them to think?
She was goofy. She had her own personality. She was one of a kind, wasn't a follower. She was her own trendsetter. She loved animals, would save all of them. I'll never forget when she brought in a raw pigeon out from just the streets and bathed it and took care of it. She was a nurturer, and she was amazing. She was amazing. And all I have now are the memories and all the things that she had. But she was an amazing friend. Man, she had so many friends that cared about her, and she cared about so many people, all the people she loved. She was just amazing.
And we know the story has reached national level. Do you think, this would reach such a huge audience?
Never did in a million years did I think I would have to go through this, but never in a billion years did I think it would get the amount of attention it has. But at some point, this has to stop. This has to stop. We have to stop losing our kids, and we have to put out awareness that for parents, just please be extra careful with your kids. Make sure you have extra safety measures. Kids, please don't think you're invincible. Like, you never know when your last day is. You never know. We always think we're young and dumb, and we're gonna have fun and come home and we'll be safe, but it's not always the case for everybody.
How's your little brother doing?
We broke the news to him today, and he's still trying to process it. He doesn't understand why, but we've just explained that she's up in heaven and she's going to be our guardian angel now, and she's going to make sure nothing happens to us. Thank you.
That is Jocelyn's mother, little 12-year-old girl that they strangled. They threw in the river like a piece of trash. And they raped her for 2 hours. Yeah, they did. Imagine. And when all these other outlets get a hold of, they talk about illegals, don't call them illegals, undocumented. They don't do as much crime as American people. I will say this a million times. I've proved that they do not report 40% of these agencies. They switched over when Obama in 2009, 2010, they wanted to switch over to a new system, and it was supposed to start in 2021. 40% of the agencies did not switch over to that. They never reported. California and New York have not been reporting. Two of the biggest cities and states where illegals are going, they are not reporting. They have to keep the crime numbers down for the illegals coming in, because they would have utter chaos with the American people. So they got to make it look like Americans do more crime than illegals. Guarantee you there's many crimes not being reported. And this is going to keep happening, people.
Country, I've been warning people about this for about 3 years now. Because I saw it as a problem. And basically the way I saw it when I recognized it was going to be a problem was basically the Biden administration overtly said, come one, come all. And I'm like, oh my gosh, you have no idea who these people are. And, it just, I mean, as you know, I'm a veteran. I was in the military, and that was something I signed up for to do. But you know what? We took the fight to them, and we kept the fight there. But it is so disappointing as a veteran to see this happening now, that innocent people, and especially women and children, are being attacked. Because what's interesting in all of these stories, in these cases, especially in the last month or so, it's all women and children. It's never men. And that's what these people do. And I'm not like saying that in a racist way or anything like that. That is what they do.
No, that's their target. That's their target. They want.
Exactly. I dealt with this for 20 years, and that is what they do. This is who they are, it's terrible.
And the thing is, they had committed other crimes like this, like the mother of five. He had in his country raped a 9-year-old. He fled his country to come to America, and he did that to this mother of five. If they don't get what they want, see, in some of their countries, nothing gets done. In broad daylight, I can show you video. In broad daylight, if they want you, they can grab you and they'll rape you on the street in front of hundreds of people, and it bother them, and nothing be done about it. So see, that is their culture, that is their way, and then they think they can come over here and that's going to happen. The two boys that did this to Jocelyn, one was 25, one was 21.
Yeah, exactly. And I did time in Iraq and Afghanistan. I mean, when I was in Afghanistan, for example, I mean, I'm sure everybody's heard this story, but the Taliban, it was the Taliban at the time, could have been a mix of the Taliban and Al Qaeda, but
Right.
they literally would take acid and throw it in girls' faces going to school. I mean, these people are vicious. They are vicious animals. Again, it's not a race thing. It's just who they are. And so the fact that all this is happening right now is terrible. But the fact that it's happening here in this country because Biden let the door open to them, I'm just like, I'm at a loss. I got to be honest with you. I'm at a loss. And the fact, and here's the other thing too. Here's what really bothers me is that the Biden supporters, they're always like, oh, well, these people are just here to work. No, they're not. They are here to commit crime. They are here to do harm. Now, there might be a few that want a better life, but no, generally speaking, and I hate to say it, no,
Absolutely.
they are vicious. Go ahead, please. Thank you.
No, I was saying absolutely agree with you. They are gutless animals, Denver. Yeah, I totally agree with you. You're on point. I mean, and you've been over in other countries, thank you for your service, fighting for our freedoms. So we don't have to live like that. So we don't have to deal with that. You know what I'm saying? And now it's been brought to our doorstep. It's been brought to our doorstep. But could there ever be any crimes? Could there ever be any charges brought against this administration for these murders of these young women and children? Or would presidential immunity, come into play? I mean, could there possibly be? Well, one person thinks that there's a possibility that he could get charges. Y'all bear with me. I'm going back and forth between my Telegram.
More concrete ethics code for the Supreme Court.
The worst thing could happen is for the United States Senate and the House to determine what cases the Supreme Court hears. The bill that he talked about was killed on the floor of the Senate because it would allow lower court judges to determine when a Supreme Court justice should be recused. It was a constitutional overreach. They're trying to micromanage the Roberts Court. They're trying to destroy Alito and Thomas because they don't like the fact they're conservative judges. I like Chris, but in his world, the people over there are part of a political team that when Democrats fail at the ballot box, people over there will fix the problem from a liberal perspective. Donald Trump changed the court. They're squealing like stuck pigs because the Supreme Court no longer is a political body. It is actually looking at the Constitution and making constitutionally sound decisions versus political decisions. That's the problem liberals have with the court.
So the president, as you know, blasted them a couple of days ago at this fundraiser. He said they're completely out of kilter. And a lot of pundits think that is a winning argument for him. Jennifer Rubin, writing over at the Washington Post, says the more focus on the Supreme Court, the better for Democrats. The court is broken, unpopular, and in dire need of reform. Biden knows it and should make court reform a key campaign issue. He even suggested in the remarks that the court is thinking about making IVF illegal or taking away protections for IVF.
So if Democrats can't convince you that there's something bad wrong with the court, they're going to lose because most Americans believe that they're not safer under President Biden than there were Trump. Chris Coons, a dear friend, said that there's a good case to be made that you're safer today than you were when President Trump was president. If you believe that, you shouldn't be allowed to drive. That's silly. That's dangerously wrong. The border is beyond broken. You have wars in Ukraine. You have the Mideast on fire. When it comes to enforcing the law, Joe Biden has been beyond reckless. He's taken a parole statute that's limited in nature and has given 1 million people parole when on average Trump and Biden's administration gave 5,600 people parole. Laken Riley's murderer was paroled because they had lack of capacity in El Paso. They let him out under the parole statute because they were full. There's nothing in the statute that says you can go because you're full, and he killed this lady. On and on and on. All of these women who've been raped and murdered have one thing in common. The people that killed them, raped them, and murdered them were in our custody and let go, I think, illegally. So Joe Biden better hope and pray there's presidential immunity, because when he allowed the killer of Laken Riley to be released on parole because lack of capacity, I think he's subject not only to lawsuit, but criminal prosecution if there's.
Wow. What do you think about that?
Yeah, so there's a lot to unpack with that. I haven't seen that interview until you just showed it to me with Lindsey Graham, but there's a lot to unpack there. Okay, the one issue is, constitutionally speaking, the president, the executive office, which is the president, is actually constitutionally required to protect the border, to secure the safety of American citizens. So that's one thing. And yeah, if there's no immunity, it's like, well, now you can bring, and hopefully we're going to hear that next week.
I hope so.
But if Trump doesn't have immunity, then neither does Biden. The second thing is regarding the Supreme Court, the Democrats are so upset right now because, generally speaking, it's 6-3 conservative to liberal. And so now they're trying to get like Alito, to recuse himself on certain cases. They hate Clarence Thomas. They're trying. I don't think it's going to happen, but they're trying to like pack the court. They're trying so much because they're upset. Now, the fact that Trump got 3 justices in there was not Trump's fault. I mean, some of the justices passed away or retired.
Right, and they go into the next position.
Like any president actually is compelled to do, and the Dems are they're like furious about this, and like the recusal and all that other stuff. I mean, here's the thing, though, they don't understand. Like, if you look at the Colorado ballot case, and I don't want to change the subject, but
no, let's talk.
Yeah, the Colorado ballot case. Even the 3 Dem justices, when they tried to throw Trump off the ballot, the 3 Dem justices ruled with the presiding opinion, if you will, that is unconstitutional.
Right.
If you recall, they tried to get him off the ballot. The Colorado Supreme Court, in a 4-3 ruling, tried to get Trump off the ballot because they were citing insurrection because of January 6th. But then it goes up to the Supreme Court because it was basically contested immediately. And lib justices said, yeah, no, you can't take a candidate when you define insurrection and all that goes into it. So my point is that, Sotomayor, Kagan, and Ketanji, Lee, Jackson, justices, all of them, they are left leaning, but I think they are ruling generally in ways of the Constitution, which is what the Supreme Court does. Go ahead.
That's what they're supposed to do. But like you said, the Biden administration, they want to pack the courts, and the Democrats and liberals, they have a problem with even if it's a liberal judge, if it doesn't go as their plan, their narrative, they're bad. Let's do different. Well, let's watch this one video here. This is actually going to be one of the CNN debate moderators, and listen to how she speaks.
Yeah, because it seems like the Supreme Court is in a bubble, or perhaps some of the justices are in a bubble, and they're not dealing with, when they say, oh, Congress can do this, there are members of Congress, and we can go through the list, who are never going to do anything that would make life difficult for Donald Trump. So to think that the Congress is going to solve this, they barely can get a post office name these days.
It's true. And you can go down the list of Supreme Court decisions that kicked whatever issue across the street over to Congress, whether it is, Obamacare, which is something that the Democrats were very happy about when they did that, a little bit of a different kind of court. Voting rights, I think, is maybe the primary example of what you're saying before this. Look, unfortunately for America, the court isn't necessarily wrong that this is the way the framers wanted it to be. They wanted Congress, the people who are closest to their constituents to be able to make the rules of the laws.
And see, that's what kills me. They will pull in and say, yes, we agree with what Congress is even there for when it suits them. But when it doesn't suit them, they're like, Congress is horrible and let's just do away with it. They shouldn't be able to speak about anything. And then with the judges, same thing. They're so flip-floppy. They're all over the damn place. I can't hear you. Gravel. You're muted. You're muted.
Sorry, country. I don't mean to interrupt you. And they call us fascists, but they want to do away with the Supreme Court. They want to do away with Congress. And I'm like, that is the definition of fascism. You know, I mean, that's exactly what who did. You know, he just basically took total power and said, I'm just going to do what I want.
You can say Hitler here.
Okay, yeah, Hitler.
Here. Yeah. You don't have to say who here.
Okay, I appreciate that. Yeah, and that's what I'm like. So her name is. It's funny you brought up CNN today because it was either yesterday morning or this morning. Trump's campaign manager. Her name is Catherine Levitt.
I have that video.
Okay, all right. I don't want to steal your thunder, but she got.
No, you're fine.
They're like muted her. They like cut her out when she started. I'm like, oh my God.
Let's watch it.
It takes someone 5 minutes to Google Jake Tapper, Donald Trump, to see that Jake Tapper has consistently
stop this interview if you're going to keep
President
attacking
Trump
my colleagues.
Adolf Hitler.
Ma'am, I'm going to stop this interview if you
I'm
continue to attack my colleagues. I would like to talk about Joe Biden and Donald Trump, who you work for.
Yes.
If you are here to speak on his behalf, I am willing to have this conversation.
I am stating facts that your colleagues have stated in the past.
Okay.
Now,
I'm sorry, guys. We're going to come back out to the panel. Caroline, thank you very much for your time. You are welcome to come back.
Well, first.
Oh my God. That is how we feel. Everyone that doesn't know anything about TikTok, right there. And on these platforms, if you're not on these platforms pushing the truth and getting it out there, that right there is what patriots go through, conservatives go through on a daily basis. We lose accounts, our voice is silenced. It's cancel the patriots. It's cancel conservatives. I mean, I can say cancel culture all day long, but it is truly cancel the patriots. Cancel you if you are a Trump supporter. Cancel you if you wear MAGA. If any of it. That right there is a prime example. And literally, that's what they do. They drop you. They drop you from the conversation. They drop you from a live. They freaking will report your page. They're that evil. They will report your page because you said something they didn't like.
Agree with us or else. That's their mentality. Yes. And we were talking about Nazi Germany, back in the day. And I actually watched a really good documentary on it. It was actually about the Nuremberg trials. But it kind of gave a whole history, and I'm German myself, actually. My grandparents, great-grandparents, immigrated over here right after World War I because they didn't like what was going on in Germany. And then my grandparents, both my grandfathers, fought in World War II. They were both pilots, kind of like I ended up being a pilot. But what was interesting when I watched that documentary, and it's a documentary, it's like, hey, this actually happened. I know about this already, but if you've never watched anything like that, it's a very slow buildup. It's a plan by design, indoctrinate the kids, which was, to make a comparison, like the Nazi youth or the Hitler youth, indoctrinate the kids, take your gun rights away, find a group that you don't like. In this case, it's Trump supporters. And actually, anti-Semitism is springing its ugly head up again, especially here in this country, which is like I have no idea why that's happening. And it's slow and it's slow and methodical. And I don't, And even the people that, I mean, the higher ups that are involved in it, I think they know exactly what they're doing. But like the TikTokers, I don't think they realize what they're actually doing. So if you're on Dem TikTok Live, for example, and they're like, you're muted, or they report you, or they block you, or they kick you out. They don't silencing speech. That's actually a very serious thing, and that's exactly how the Hitler regime, how the Nazi regime, which used to be called the German Workers' Party, came to be.
Right.
And I don't think people are actually seeing this. And this took about 15 years to happen. So if we look at it right now, if we examine it or compare it to that timeline, we're in about year 3.5. But I'm glad you're bringing up these videos. Like the fact that, Levitt was kicked off CNN or whatever. That's what I'm getting. They're silencing people. And that's what's happening. It's terrible. It's terrible.
And they're going to keep doing it as this election gets closer. It's they're going to, I mean, TikTok's even gotten worse. I was like, any video I have with Trump in it is like shadow banned. And I've even gotten violations and got them taken down. And they don't even give me a reason a lot of times. But then you got DMs because, see, I don't know, a lot of people don't know how TikTok works. When you report it, there's a list of things you can say is why you're reporting it. And they will literally, out of pure meanness, if you have a video of Trump up, for example, of one of his rallies, they will report it for hate speech. They'll report it for nudity. They'll report it for anything they can to get it taken down. And at that moment, it gets taken down. You have to appeal it. But just think, there's so many people that don't even know how to appeal. They're taking our speech away constantly at every turn, at every freaking turn. So they don't want the truth out there. I mean, look what they did to X right after the 2020 election. That was a complete ran liberal. That because nobody could get, I mean, they had to make it look good and let some stuff out there, but Trump was silenced, completely silenced. We're just getting a taste of what he went through. He was completely silenced. He couldn't say anything about anything, and the hell he went through. The hell, he's got such resilience, though. God wins.
I don't know how the man does it. And then in the meantime, he's campaigning, he's doing his rallies, and he's got like, hundreds of, or, thousands, I'll just say thousands of people there. I think, honestly, though, country, here's what I am seeing. I think that even the closet Trumpers who probably won't come out and say they're a Trumper because they don't want to lose a friend or lose a family member or, lose a relationship, I'll say. I think everybody's seeing it now. And I think that the misnomer, in my view, is that we worship Trump, or I got a Trump shrine, or yeah, exactly. Yeah, that is not what this is. What we're seeing, and I think I mentioned this on one of your shows last time I was on, what Trump did in reality was he pulled that curtain back and said, hey, I just want to show you guys something. And that made the government, the deep state, as they're called, they flipped out. That's why he's going through these cases right now.
Exactly.
Or was on the verge of exposing him. And now that he has the opportunity to get back into office, it's gonna get bad. And people are like, well, Trump's gonna do revenge. And I don't think Trump's gonna do revenge. I think he's just gonna, that curtain's coming back and that curtain's never gonna close. To use an analogy.
He didn't even want to arrest Hillary Clinton. He's even talked about this. He said, why would I want to arrest a former president's wife? He said, that's respect. You have to respect the president. Last night, we played a video of Trump explaining if he really thought that this was a fair election in 2020, he would have stepped aside and not had a problem. But he said he knows it was stolen.
I got asked that question today. It was actually a Republican Live, but there were The host did a pretty good job. She had a pretty good balanced panel. Actually, we had to, or a couple of MAGA people had to get out because they were going crazy too, over talking and doing all that. But I got asked a question: how do I feel about the election? And I said, look, I'm coming. Here's the answer to my question. As an American citizen, I acknowledge that Biden is the president of the United States currently. I said, but what is commonly misconceived, I think, with MAGA or Trump supporters and how the Democrats look at us. My question is not about being Trump and I'm a sore loser. My question is, was the election actually fair? Because if you vote for Biden or you vote for Trump, your vote should count.
Absolutely.
And it shouldn't be tricked or rigged or anything like that. And that will always be my opinion. If my guy loses, then my guy loses. But as long as I know he lost fair and square, to your point, then I'm okay with that. It's what the people wanted,
because it was what the people wanted.
Correct.
Exactly.
Correct.
It's what the people chose. But if the people are speaking and their votes are going out and they're saying, okay, I want to vote for Trump. And you've got people planted as poll watchers and other nefarious places. And they take the ballots and they purposely change them to Biden. You just stole someone's voice.
Absolutely.
You stole someone's voice.
Absolutely. And I wish, whether it's TikTok or just in general, I wish the Democrats would understand that look, we're not asking, okay, if our guy loses or lost or whatever. That's not what it is. What we're asking for is that we don't want our votes not being counted. And I don't want their votes not being counted either.
Absolutely.
I mean, that's why we have a republic. That's why we vote. And that has always been. And they're like, well, so you're not mad that Trump lost? And I go, look, I know what you're trying to drag me into, but it's not that.
Right.
If Trump had said, hey, look, I lost fair and square, then okay, we all move on, and the next time around we vote again or whatever.
Right.
But the 2020 election, that was the one that was very concerning to me. That like water pipes were breaking, ballots were getting dumped, machines weren't actually tabulating the real votes. There was a whole thing about the Dominion machines. I mean, all that. It does cause questions as an American citizen.
Well, to stop. When have you ever heard any of the elections? It always got counted and ran through, and by the next morning you knew who was the president or whatever in that office or what have you, or district or anything. But to stop counting, we'll pick it up tomorrow. In every county, they really think we're that freaking stupid.
And that's my issue. That's another great point. I didn't even bring that up. You did. I forgot about that. But you're right. That was a great point. I mean, okay, we're going to stop counting. And all of a sudden, when Trump was ahead, we all woke up the next day. Oh, Biden won. It's like, okay, wait a minute. What?
And you're like, wait a minute. He was so far ahead. And now all of a sudden, I'm going to tell you, they tried that shit this election. Trump came out early out of the gate. Smart man. Smart man. His numbers are, and even in blue, he's flipping. He's getting them voters flipped.
Yeah,
so,
exactly. Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
Let's say, what if that happens again?
I don't think it's going to happen again, to be honest. I think
he won't break the damn system. I think people are going to vote red and they're going to vote for Trump. And I think they're going to overload that system because I've heard Trump say it. I've heard everybody say it. Get out and vote. And when you vote, and if you vote for Trump, I have heard so many people say it's going to break the system, because they use a margin of what, 5 to 10% of whatever ballots they needed over it to win. By God, you're gonna need more than what you got coming through that border.
Well, have you heard the statement, too big to rig? It's going to be
Good
so
statement.
overwhelming. It's going to be so overwhelming that in Trump's favor. I think that's it. And not only that, Laura Trump, Eric Trump's wife, Trump's daughter-in-law, she's the chair or co-chair of the RNC. They're deploying poll watchers. They're deploying election offices in every state. I mean, they're like
attorneys.
We're not
even they're placing them attorneys.
It's like 500 attorneys. They're like, everybody's watching this one now. Good point.
Yeah, they are. Didn't they make it like outlawed or something to where you can't? Because they had people actually sitting in lawn chairs all night long by ballot boxes.
Yeah. So, and they actually just caught 4 workers in a mayoral election, dumping ballots again. And this was in a blue city.
Virginia. It was in Virginia.
Virginia, is that where it was? Okay, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
They just caught them doing the ballot dumps again.
And well, today they actually caught someone, or it was over, I don't know, wherever another election was going on. Maricopa County, as a matter of fact. They caught him going in there and he took something from one of the machines.
Yeah, I did hear about that. And I've told you, as an Arizona resident myself for the last couple of years anyways, that county, I have no idea what's going on down there. We are trying to get to the bottom of it. Our focus remains on getting, not only getting Trump elected, because we are a swing state, but getting Kerry Lake into office. That's where, and we actually go to like town hall meetings and whatnot, if that's what you want to call them, trying to get Lake pushed over the line.
No, she
Trump.
would do gravel. She would do such good things for Arizona. Such good things. People don't understand. You put the right people in there, your state will flourish. Jobs. You can actually go. I look at this when I'm traveling and I go through towns. I don't know if other people do this. It's just the way my mind thinks. I look at the infrastructure. I look at the buildings. I look at the town and I look to see if it is thriving or not. And you can tell if that government is doing their job. You absolutely can tell if they are doing their job in that city. If you've got holes everywhere, you've got a bunch of empty buildings that could be having businesses in them. I mean, take a look in these towns. Just take a minute and go look at it when you go through. You will be amazed at the emptiness, and they're not thriving when they have the capability to thrive. Other businesses from inside America would be built. What was it? Recently, I want to say it's Rubbermaid. It's one of the plastic factories that makes containers. They actually are shutting down all their factories here in the US and moving it to Mexico. Yeah. Hang on a minute. You're muted again, Gravel. Unmute your mic.
Okay. Is that better?
Yep. There you
okay.
Are.
So you almost described my town to the T. We have.
Oh, really?
Yeah, we have virtually. Okay, we're not an industrial town or anything like that, but a lot of guys, a lot of employment is done with the railroad, because there is a railroad through here. Then we got our local restaurants and whatnot, and that employs some people. It's not huge, but the streets are all nice. We have virtually no crime. The only time we get crime here, it's like any other place. Occasionally something might happen, but like the big crimes, like the biggest crime that it wasn't even a crime that was here. Some dude in New Mexico, he murdered like 3 people and then stole a car, and he drove through here, and then the car broke down, and he stole all the people he murdered. He stole their credit cards, and the police tracked the credit cards because when he went into the one auto shop we have here, he tried using it there, and boom, they swarmed him. The FBI, the state police. I mean, we just don't tolerate shit like that here, you know.
Right.
And it's actually funny because I was listening to a discussion earlier today. There was some dude talking about like, oh, I hate guns, and I don't know why you have guns. See, we all carry here. And maybe that's why we don't have any crime, you know, whether you conceal. I mean, I can conceal, but a lot of people actually open carry here, and you're gonna think twice. Like if you walk into a gas station,
absolutely,
and there's like 20 people in there, and they all got firearms on them, you're probably not gonna rob the gas station. You know,
where Gravel? Deborah's want to know where. What town are you talking about?
Seligman, Arizona.
Arizona. Yeah, that's like my small town here in Tennessee. You can tell we recently have an influx of illegal immigrants here. I believe it is part of. I think it was somewhere around 600 that Homeland Security did not notify anyone here in Tennessee that they were going to do it, and they just dropped them off here.
So that has happened once. To my knowledge, that has happened once here. There was a bus that came up from the Yuma sector or Yuma area because we do have a border problem. And the bus driver tried to stop in town to like give them, you know, so all the illegals, they were on the bus and tried to like, I guess, give them like a, you know, a relief break, if you will. And one, there's nowhere for here. Unless you pay for a hotel, there's nowhere for them to stay. But the state troopers and the sheriff got wind of it and stopped the bus on the overpass. And they said, "You're not coming here. Go on."
See, that's what I'm talking about. Get to know your sheriffs. If you got the right sheriffs, if the sheriffs are going to do their job, they are going to protect their town. That's what they're there for, to protect the people in the town. And that's what a sheriff does. They're like, hell no, we ain't doing this shit. You ain't been vetted. You just come across. You could be a whole bus load full of nothing but terrorists, or a whole bus load full of nothing but rapists. Period. You ain't coming to our town. Period. And that's what pissed. That's what got Governor Lee upset and some other representatives, because they just dropped them off, no warning, no nothing, and they were here before we knew it.
Yeah, that was the only incident I've ever heard of in the 2+ years I've been here. But the sheriffs got, I don't know how they got wind of it, but they got wind of it. They contacted the state police, and then it was kind of like a joint thing, or a joint,
right.
You know, they stopped the bus as it was getting off the overpass. They evidently boarded the bus, and you know, the passengers on the bus, they'd already been cleared, I guess, because, you know, there's no catch and release anymore, or it's catch and release now. So they had already been cleared by the CBP, and they were on this bus to, I don't even know where. And they tried to stop. They tried to stop. They tried to stop here in our county, and the sheriffs were like, no, you don't. Yeah. Is your butt? Do you have gas in the bus to get over to? I think the next closest place was Flagstaff, and the bus driver was like, "Yeah." I mean, I feel bad for the bus driver. He's just a contracted guy. He's a U.S. citizen. He's just driving the bus. They're like, "You got enough gas to get to Flagstaff?" And he's like, "Yeah." And they're like, "Go to Flagstaff. Don't do that here. You're not coming here." And he said, "Okay." And
they don't realize that, you know, the illegals, they come here, they commit these crimes. And well, we're gonna watch this one video. This is of Jocelyn's rapist and killers arraignment.
He also served as U.S. Border Patrol Chief and Deputy Commissioner. You know, first of all, welcome to the program. As we watch this, it is just sickening. I want to know your top line thoughts on where we are with keeping America safe, especially our children.
Well, this poor girl, Jocelyn, her hearts go out to her friends and her family, all of her loved ones. She deserved better. She deserved better than a border that's in complete chaos. She deserved better leadership in the White House that says that there wasn't a crisis at the border, that someone else broke it, and that they inherited a broken system, and that he tried and tried and tried, and he needed Congress's help. But then all of a sudden, he gave 500,000 people the effect of amnesty. And so her family and the people of Houston, the rest of us, all of America, deserve better leadership than we're getting out of the White House as it relates to a border that is completely out of control. And yeah, it's bad at the border. It's bad for the front line and their families. It's bad in the region around Mexico. But it's much worse for that family today. And I can only pray that those prosecutors do their best that they can, and the jury that eventually gets seated for these cases has discernment and puts these people away for a very, very long time, because that's what they deserve.
You know, I've wanted to ask you, and I'm so grateful for the opportunity now to get to this point. Yeah, I thought that there were people who were always part of government, irrespective of their politics, who would do the right thing. What is really going on with Mayorkas, the DHS secretary? I mean, is he feeling pressure from the White? I want to get into it now because Republicans tried to impeach him. They've tried to do everything to get him out of that job. And this is part of what's gotten here. He's driven us into a ditch.
I truly don't know what it's in his heart. I can tell you that the work that I previously did with him, and I know him as a family man, as a father of at least one daughter, that he cares about, humanity and his own background as an immigrant like my own. But I don't understand what direction he takes from the White House that allows him to know exactly how to solve this problem, but yet continues to drive down a road that puts us into the worst border surge than we've ever seen. And yeah, they made some adjustments. They did this, amnesty rule that allows us to expel people. And then apparently there's a 25% decrease, but we're still in record territory. The cartels are still in control. We still have an out of control fentanyl problem, human trafficking, more deaths at the border, more terrorist related individuals. So I don't know what he's thinking. I can tell you that I couldn't be in the chair that he sits right now, because there's no way that I could allow the White House to set the agenda that is really destroying what happens at the border and all the control we had, and has for the last 3+ years. But now it's affecting every city and town in America.
Absolutely. Ron, thank you for the
You know what's so interesting about that video? I think I did see at least a part of that interview, not the whole one you just displayed, but I cannot for the life of me, and I think that's what that gentleman was saying. He's like, I cannot figure out what Mayorkas is doing.
I think they've got some dirt on him if you ever think about it. If they do something, I can't remember who said this, it was someone important. I can't remember who it was. If you see people that you put in the chairs and those seats, or people that allow something to continue, and it is just common sense, period, wrong. And it's just wrong in general. And you see them pushing it and doing nothing, then they've got something on their asses. Because how does that man sleep at night? How does he sleep at night? I would be afraid demons were attacking me and going to attach themselves to me because he's such an evil little bald-headed man. I would be terrified because he's doing nothing. He gets up there, and if you look at his face, he's always nervous. He gets red. You watch the skin tone, you watch the eyes, his tone changes, and he knows he's doing wrong. He knows that he could change things, but for whatever reason, I believe they got some dirt on these asses, and then they are saying, hey, you either play ball our way or strike, you're out. Period. I believe they got some shit on them. Because who in their right freaking mind? Who in their right mind truly would allow it? Or he's got a big payday He's got big paydays. Or we're dealing with a Gestapo administration. Threats. It could be anything. And I'm the last person to take up for these rhinos. Very last person to take up for any of them. But we really don't know.
Well, are you talking about the word I think you might have been looking for? Are you talking about aiding and abetting? Like a crime is occurring,
Yeah.
a crime is occurring,
That
and
as
it's
well.
not doing anything to stop it. I actually had to look it up. It actually it can be a crime, and as you know, Mayorkas was impeached, and here's what was real weird: the Congress impeached him, and then Schumer they wouldn't even try him on it. They just said, "No, we're not doing a trial." I'm like,
and then look at Mayorkas.
Yeah,
I mean, Garland, and look, it's I can't.
I mean, they tried Trump. I mean, Trump didn't get convicted when he was impeached twice, but they tried Trump. But
please tell me.
Go ahead.
What is the point of the impeachment if it's only going to be in name and nothing enforced behind it? That is wasting taxpayer dollars. That is wasting the American people's time. It's all for show if you don't enforce something, if you don't do something about the problem. I could sit here all day long and have a committee hearing and go back and forth and say, okay, my fellow constituents, do a vote, and it come back, okay, you're impeached. But if you still get to remain in that seat, if you still get to remain doing the frivolous things that you're doing, the nefarious things, the horrible things that you're doing, what was the point? For show. To make the American people think we got your back. We are doing something. No, it's all word salad. It's lip service. You ain't doing jack shit. You are not doing shit for the American people. Because if you was, he would be removed. You would have, I don't know, Ken Paxton, somebody in that seat taking over and doing the right thing. But instead, we are still today living in the same situation, and it gets worse by the minute.
And that's a great point. I mean, especially like when you talk about the border, and I'll bring up Garland here for a second, but I understand it's very frustrating as citizens. Okay, we all know, and whether you even if you like Biden and want to vote for Biden, the border is fucked up. And I'm saying this, I've lived in Arizona now. I saw this coming, and I've been making video after video after video about it. Especially lately with all the crime. But even when I first got here, I'm like, something's messed up something's messed up here. I don't live near the border because I'm in the north. But we knew something was up, So me and my buddies, we actually drove all our off-road vehicles down there and actually watched it for ourselves and just to see, is this actually happening? And, sure enough, it was. And I've been trying to warn people, that kind of like what I was telling you earlier, country, was that the people that are coming over, I don't care what the left says. I don't care what the Democrats say. Yeah, some of them might be here to work. Some of them might really need asylum, but not all of them. I mean, they're here to cause trouble. They're here to do the things that we've been seeing, like the case you just showed about Jocelyn. I mean, what happened to her? You had the 13-year-old in New York. She was raped, and they tied her and the other kid she was with, to a tree. The mom of 5 who was killed.
Lincoln Riley. I mean, it's just
Lincoln Riley, exactly.
And last night I played a video of one analyst saying, well, to say that the crime, because what one person does, the rest of them should be held accountable for that action. And they were just trying to explain one life matters. It matters. You can't just sweep that under the rug and make it sound as though, well, we can afford to have so many little girls raped and murdered and mothers murdered. We can afford to do that as long as, it doesn't the number doesn't rise to a point to where it's obvious. That's what I was getting out of it. Truthfully, that's what I was getting out of it. And she even stated, well, they shouldn't have to pay for what this person done. Where's the accountability for any of this? Is anybody going to take accountability for any of it? Nobody's taking accountability. Nobody. Nobody's taking accountability. The border's open because you'll hear Democrats say the border's not open. I bet
Yeah.
I bet you them Democrats won't walk their ass and stay all night out there at that damn border. If
Well,
it's not open and there's no problem, get your ass to that border and hang out there, have a picnic.
I agree. And I'll tell you a little story about that from when me and my buddies went down there. We've actually gone down there a couple times. And what Deborah said was right. They all need women up in that shithole White House to see the rap that could really take place.
We'll be worse than a mama bear.
Get the moms, get the grandmas, get all of that. I mean, the men would probably handle. I mean, me personally, and handle it a little bit differently. I'll just take my guns. But yeah. I mean, ultimately, though, I think what's really going to have to happen, because I recognize your point and I recognize what you're saying, especially about accountability. There is no accountability. So we, the people, I don't want to say we have to take it into our own hands. I mean, still vote, still do all that. But ultimately, I think that's what it's going to take. And what's happening, like with the border, pretty much with everything, actually, when you look at the mainstream media. So when we were down there at the border, this was in the Yuma sector, and there is a wall there, but there's a hole in that wall. They actually have to open the gates during the this was last year, actually, during the monsoon season. They have to open up. There's these like gates, right? And they got to open them up because it's something like they let the gates stay closed. Then I don't know. It does something. It does something to the wall, right? But so that was like a standard routine, but they would have Border Patrol agents sitting there guarding the open gates, right? And so, and if somebody tried to come across, they were just arrested and kicked back out of the country, basically go back over there, or charged with a felony or whatever. But what was happening was, so I was down there. So when we were down there, there were some investigative journalists down there. Newsmax was there. CNN was there. Fox News was there. And then there were just a bunch of citizens there.
Right.
MSNBC was there too. So what CNN and MSNBC would do, because they the way this works, just for everybody's knowledge, the way this works, they call them caravans, right? But they come in a wave. They come in a wave. There'll be like 150 of them that cross. And then and they never film at night. That's one thing. They never film at night. They only film during the day. Newsmax films at night, but they never film at night. But so I'll just take the daylight thing. What they do, and I actually talked to one of the reporters at CNN. When this, I'll just say that in this one case, this huge wave came through, right? And they were pointing their camera at the ground. So we walked up to the CNN crew and said, hey, how come you're not filming this? And they go, oh, well, we're having a technical difficulty with the camera. As soon as that wave passed, they started filming. I shit you not. I shit you not.
No, I believe it. I mean,
and they said, look, and then CNN came out and said, look, we're down here at the border, with their microphone. We're down here at the border. See, look, there's no problem here. It's like, no, we just watched it happen. You know what I mean? Fucking.
And that's what they were. That's what they were doing when some of the senators or in the Congress or whatever went down there. And then at that time, Biden went to the border finally. After what was it, 2.5, 3 years? He finally went to the border. They took him to a parking lot. They took him to a parking lot.
Yeah, and they also cleared out. So this is Texas. I can't speak for Texas, but when he went to El Paso, they cleared out all the homeless, cleaned up all their streets, gave Biden his half a day or 1 day tour or whatever it was, and then they were all
Grandma said that wasn't. My grandma said that wasn't a microphone grabber.
I know. You know what I
I
mean?
loved it. I liked it. I thought that was cool.
I was trying to use it as I was trying to use it as an example. Like, here's my microphone. Look, nothing going on here at the border. I'm very official.
Right. It's like your tape recorder. But no, we have serious problem. We do have a serious problem, and sadly, I think we're going to continue to see things like that happen with the children and the women. That's why, ladies, keep your head on a swivel. If you have your children, do not, and you live in anywhere now, you can't just say high trafficked areas where illegals come through. It's anywhere because now pretty much all states are border states.
That is true. And to the ladies that are in the comments or listening to this, I'm telling you right now, and men too, but watch out for your babies and your grandbabies, because, and I don't mean to be rude, but these fuckers are everywhere now. They're everywhere.
Yep.
And
they take.
Yeah, and they mean no good at all. And that goes back to what I was saying about fighting the wars in the Middle East and whatnot and so on and so forth. Because the shit that we're seeing now, a lot of the military, the purpose basically was to keep that crap out of the U.S., but it's here now. And I think somebody had said earlier in the comments, like just everything leading up to this election, I think that's another part of it. I think it's actually going to get worse.
Oh, it definitely. It's going to intensify. And I think the Biden administration want the problems because they're not going to recognize it. See, they can't be accountable for it if they don't recognize it and they say anything about it. You know what I'm saying? That it's not a problem. It only becomes a problem when they glorify it and they say, yeah, this is this and this. And it's sad but true. It's going to take something horrible. Okay, we got to vote. We got to get them out and get them out of there first and foremost. But their mindsets, they're evil, and they will stop at nothing to stay in power. When I say that, I mean that. They will stop at nothing, no matter what, to stay in power because they know what is going to happen. They know things are going to be better, things are going to get flipped, the truth is going to come out about so much. I mean, look how long it took for Russiagate. Look how long it took for the laptop from hell to come out. We said it. Trump said it. The FBI was weaponized, is weaponized. All three-letter agencies are weaponized. You have the two-tier justice system. They don't care about the rule of law. It's the rule of man. Period. They
Great
make it
point.
the way
Great
they want
point.
to.
Great point. And you're right. You're right, country. I mean, I don't know how to say it. I don't want to say like try and keep yourself out of trouble. Not you, but just in general. But they will look. I mean, this is this to me, it's almost like the Twilight Zone, if you will. I mean, I have a very hard time recognizing the country at this time from the time that I served, because I certainly did not defend this. Now, if somebody commits a crime and they happen to be a politician, okay, you prosecute them, you do whatever and so on and so forth. But yeah, I agree. It's going to be like, it almost, country, I'm going to be honest with you. It almost makes me sick. Like to see what's happening now and what I fought for. Does that make sense?
Absolutely. You're not the only one. Veterans, so many are coming out speaking in droves. They are angry. They are pissed.
Yeah.
They are. Their voices, I mean, they're getting loud. They're fed up. They're fed up with the way what they, and now they put the draft in as far as you don't have to co-sign yourself. We have a system where we're automatically gonna just sign you up.
Yeah, and I'll be honest with you. I mean, right now they can't draft, but
Right.
that too is a little concerning to me.
Very.
Because I've been in the wars and it sucks. I mean, I'm not like some hero or anything like that, but war sucks. I don't care what anybody says. It sucks to be away from your family. It sucks to have your friends die. It sucks to have your friends injured. Yeah, and I don't want to see a war happen, like a big major breakout of war. But with the draft that you were talking about, country, and just everything that's going on right now,
it's a scary thought because that's what a lot of the veterans they did. They went in, they served their country, they come back out. They're out for a little while. By the time they get here, their children are teenagers now, at the age of probably when they went in, and now they see the way the country is, the state it is in, the weapons they have now, different from probably what they dealt with. That is a very scary thought as a parent.
And I can't. I mean, I can't envision it. I mean, when I went through, and by the way, Deborah's in the comments. Thank you for your brother's service. I understand what you're saying. I mean, I did 20 years of it, and I became very trained and methodical, and I am personally not scared of it, but I can't imagine like what parents are feeling right now, because when you really think about it, war is a very scary thing, and I just don't want to see it happen. And I'll be honest with you, because I get asked a lot of questions. They're like, "Well, why do you like Trump?" And I'm like, because we don't have any because I like his foreign policy, because I don't want the world to explode. Because if we go to war, a lot of people are going to get hurt. A lot of kids are going to get hurt. I call them kids; they're actually adults, but you know what I mean.
Yeah.
I don't want to see that. I experienced that, and it sucks. It sucks. It's not. I mean, like the movie Top Gun. I love Top Gun. Right? It's great theatrics and whatnot, but it's not. There's a lot more to it. People aren't like getting off the jet, like high fiving, and normally here's the reality actually. And it depends on what you flew and or at least in the Air Force, what you flew. Like I would debrief with Rangers, SEALs. A lot of times, I was doing close air support. I mean, guys are coming back. They got brains and blood all over them, and because they had to blast some guy or whatever, or we had to. It's not all high fiving and movie. I mean, of course, we're all happy that people survive. I know I'm kind of going on a tangent here, but
no, enjoy it. Go ahead.
Okay, yeah, that's it. It sucks, and anytime like I was on a mission, and maybe the mission went the wrong way because we lost a guy here, lost a guy there. I mean, all I ever wanted to do after I got out of the debrief was just talk to my children. That was it. They were I wanted to talk to my sons. I just wanted to hear their voice, and nobody was like, "Oh yeah, we killed a bunch of bad people." I never personally experienced that. It's like, okay, we got the mission done. Good on you. But I don't know. All I ever wanted to do is talk to my kids because I missed them.
Of course.
I was away from them. And,
I would say that would be the most important thing. They probably, if you got a care package, oh my God, I bet that was, me and my friend, We used to actually do care packages and just send them randomly. Just send them. And it made you feel human. It made you feel human again because I can't even imagine. I wouldn't even think to start to know what you go through when you're over there serving our country. I wouldn't even want to begin because you're isolated, you're away from, and you make the people in your unit your family because that's who you have to depend on to save your life. That's your brothers, that's your sisters, and period. Um, I can understand where a care package, a phone call, a video call, a letter, and one letter you probably read 50 times. My dad used to tell me stories about that. He was in the army in Germany. And the service members, I thank you so much. And the non-service members, the ones that are out as well. Thank you so much for what you've done for us. We're going to get this country back. This country is going to be set back right.
We absolutely have to, and we cannot. You know, I don't. I just don't. I just don't want to see our adversaries taking advantage of this situation, and I am a little bit concerned because it appears to me that Trump looks like he's on the path to victory between now and November, right?
Right.
And I don't want our adversaries to make a move, and because they know they can pretty much roll over Biden.
And so I was concerned about because one of the big USS something actually ported because of some of the Habalas or something wars going on right now. I think Israel, they're going back and forth. Well, since that started up, they've sent one of our biggest ships over there.
Well,
What I get the fear of is they're setting the stage. You know what I'm saying?
yeah, the fact, and this is open source, the fact that we're deploying carrier strike groups, I'm not sure if anybody knows what that is. A carrier strike group, it's like, I mean, that is, so a carrier, it's not just the aircraft carrier. It's like destroyers and cruisers. And if anybody's in the Navy, correct me here, but it's like submarines. It's basically like the fact that we're sending carrier strike groups, it points to me like it's an escalation, you know, and now we got the Russian Navy sitting off Cuba, and they got a sub and a destroyer or something, a fuel ship. I mean, it's just like, oh, this is, I mean,
well,
this is how things. My point is, if there's a miscalculation on somebody's part, the whole thing could explode.
Well, I mean, I think it's already lit. I think the match has been lit recently when the Biden administration okayed the use of the weapons from us in Ukraine to fire upon Russia, and they just did a town. They just fired upon this town. So, and then all the other stuff that's happened, you know, I believe if they can't get this election, if they're testing the waters, they have a backup plan. And I think their backup plan is all out war.
And that was, you just complimented my point, if you will, country, is that, you know, the between now and November, because if they're calculating, if our adversaries are calculating that Trump's going to win, this is my personal opinion, but if they're calculating that Trump's going to win in November, they're probably going to make their move now, you know, because
well, it would be the only smart thing to do because once he gets in office, you don't want to mess with him.
No, he'll put a stop to all of it. He will. I mean, I'm telling you, he will.
Yeah.
He will put a stop to it.
So whatever they're going to have to do, they have to do it, like you said, now with the weak ass pussy that's in the White House, and I call him that because that's what he is, and his posse that runs it, the puppet masters. That's exactly what happened because they cannot do it in any other time. So it's kind of like an open window. If the adversaries want to do it, that's what they're going to do. And I just believe they're setting the stage. Why would you be sending all these ships there? Why would you be lining it up? Their formation, I guess, so to speak, as if they're lining it up for a war, if that makes sense, for a fight.
Well, and that's how, you know, when you really think about it, even if you look back to Nazi Germany, I mean, okay, so World War I occurred because the Archduke of whatever, somewhere in Austria, he was assassinated, and boom, the world broke out into war. So then that caused, you know, the Germans did what they did, and you know, then the you know, World War I ended. They got the Versailles Treaty, where the Germans got, you know, war reparations, and basically their economy crumbled, and that brought the rise of Hitler. Because right now, if World War I had not happened, there would have never been a World War II, and there never would have been a Holocaust. But that brought about the rise of Hitler, and then so Hitler gets into power, and he slowly just started taking countries over, not with force. He just marched into them. And the Allies, and it was not so much the U.S., it was the French and the British. They weren't doing anything until he just invaded Poland, you know. But the staging thing that you're talking about, this is not something that when a big major war breaks out, what I've understood through military history, it's a slow, it's like a creep, you know, like a creeping process. Like, okay, we're going to stage here. We're going to do this. We're going to put tanks or planes or, you know, whatever on this border. It happens very slowly. And then all of a sudden, it's kind of like a tit for tat. It's like, well, what are you going to do? Well, what are you going to do? Well, I'm going to do this. Okay, well, I'm going to do this back, you know, and then boom, you're in a huge major war. That's how this happens. Well, 9/11 is kind of an exception, but that's how this happens. I'm telling you right now.
We're on the verge of it. I mean, I get the feeling that that's what's going on. It's like, okay, they wait for Putin to make a move. Putin's just trying to defend and to protect his people, just on the border. That's what it started about. It's all about the minerals. It's all about what they want. And Lindsey Graham said it best recently in a video. He stated the reason why they're in Ukraine, they have to protect Ukraine from Russia is because the minerals are worth trillions of dollars. And those minerals are for batteries and other things that they have planned. That he said he does not want China to get that money, to get that, period.
Yeah, and exactly. And you know, I don't know if you're aware of this or not, but let me see, what's today, Monday? Last week, Putin went and like did a diplomatic military something or other with Kim Jong-un with North Korea. I'm like, okay, that's not good. I'm like, that's not good. That is not good.
I mean, I was thinking the same thing. I was like, okay, now we're starting to move. And so many countries are starting to join BRICS. Two more today, and another one is applied. Folks, I'm telling you, the dollar is slowly dropping. It's not going to be worth nothing before long. If these countries continue to do this, because the American currency won't be valuable anymore.
No, it won't
be worth the paper it's on.
You're right. And then on June 9th, or this past June 9th, like just this month, the Saudis it's called the petrodollar, but it's basically the dollar. They called it the petrodollar because the dollar was used to buy and sell oil, essentially. The Saudis let that expire. And now they're letting, they'll just, you can pay in yen, you can pay in, you know, rubles, you know, you can pay in whatever. I mean, that's a great point. I'm glad you brought it up because, you know, outside of the military stuff that you and I were just talking about, if you know, based on what I know about economics, and what I'm seeing that's happening right now, financial collapse is on the table. I'll just say on the table. I'm not saying it's going to happen, but a financial collapse is on the table.
Well, think about it. All the borders open. What is that? I studied it. Cliven and Piven or something. I can't never pronounce it.
Yeah, the Clive and Piven strategy. I know
That's what I feel. That's what I feel like we are being done like. I believe that is their goal. Personally, that's what I believe.
It's essentially, yeah, I agree. Essentially, kind of what it is. If you're ever in a TikTok live and you're talking to Democrats, they're like, "Oh, Project 2025, and Trump's going to be a dictator, and you guys are all fascists and all that." Here's what people aren't looking at, and that's not true. I mean, that was written by the Heritage Foundation, and it's just a plan. Like anything can be a plan, right? So they don't look at Project 2030, but what I really think this is becoming is kind of like a WEF, the WEF or
World Economic,
WHO, like a one world government. And here is, I think, what the actual issue is. If you look at it like that, you really kind of pull that onion back. Biden's promoting it. Trump is not. And that's why he says America first and all the stuff that Trump says. And now they're trying to throw him in jail because he knows what's up, and he's trying to put a stop to it. And I mean, I know he cares about the American people and so on and so forth, but I think just in general, he cares about America and what we are as a country, what we are as a constitutional republic, and he doesn't want to see that happen. And it's pissing the Democrats off, which is why they're trying to throw him in jail.
In every aspect. The man can't turn one way and they got a charge on him there and a charge on there. You watch. If any of these charges are dropped or one case is dropped or thrown out, you watch. They'll have another one to come in its place. And that's just pure harassment. At that point, it's nothing but harassment. And I sit back and think back. This should tell you Democrats, this should tell everybody something.
And that's the thing. That's the thing, country, is they think we're all like, oh, Trump, 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 Trump. We got shrines and we worship the man and whatnot. No, we see what he's doing. We see what he's doing, and we see what's happening. And I mean,
but think about the worst they could get on Trump. The worst they ever could get on Trump. They couldn't just get something flat out on him. Okay, they planted documents, they planted that, the skiff. Okay, we know that's that way. They had to go change a law
right
to do it. So that should tell you volumes. I have common sense. That should tell you volumes right there. The man hasn't done anything. If you have to make up and change laws to prosecute somebody, if the man was guilty, you could easily just find it and not have to work this hard to force it. But you had to make things up. You had to stage the shit. And then you had to change a law. Common fucking sense right there. You had to do that to get something on someone, and you don't even have it because it's all made up and because you changed something that you should have never even been changed. So that should tell people that are on the fence, listen to me and listen to me good. They didn't have shit on Trump because Trump hadn't done nothing. That's why they had to play it. That's what the cards they played. That's why they've done what they've done, because they couldn't find nothing on him, and that pissed him off. Oh my God. Think about it. Imagine the people that were sitting there thinking they had a team, probably 10 teams. Okay. What can we find? And they're digging, and they're digging, and they're digging, and they can't find shit. So they have to get an E. Jean Carroll. Duh. Then they had to turn around and change the law. And then they had to do something about these documents and set him up. The man's clean.
Yeah, it's the old, and somebody mentioned this here in the comments. Shoot, I forgot the comment. I apologize, and I forgot who said it.
I can find it for you if you want me to.
I'm looking at them right now.
What they're doing to Trump is election interference. Absolutely.
That is true. And Patriot also said Reagan tried to tell us about what's going on today. Deborah said, that's what I was going to comment on. Deborah said Biden and Dems are trying to make us a communist country. Absolutely. I agree. I mean, there's people on TikTok now, they call themselves comrades. Yeah, they're like, well, I don't know if you've seen any of these lives. There's these lives. These are U.S. citizens, and they got like the hammer and chisel in their background, and they're like, do away with capitalism. We're communists, and they call themselves comrades and all this other crap, and they have no idea what they're talking about.
I didn't know about that. I had no idea about that.
Just cruise through a few lives. You'll see them. They're out there, and these are U.S. citizens. But to what you were saying, it's an old Stalin tactic.
Yes.
KGB. Find me the man, I'll find you the crime.
There you go. I love that.
Find me the crime. You know,
I like that one. I'm gonna write that one down. Find me the man, I'll find you the crime.
Yeah.
I do that because I'll make different things with stuff. Oh wow. Wow, that is unreal. A bunch of losers. You're right, Deborah. They are a bunch of freaking losers. Hey, Grandma. Exactly. 100%. Patriot, what'd you say? What they're doing to Trump is, yes, election interference. Absolutely. They sure are. Well, let's go on and let's talk a little bit more about. Go ahead, Gravel.
Oh, no, go ahead. Go ahead. I'm listening. I just got to step away for a moment. I'm going to mute the cam while you're talking.
Okay.
I am listening.
Okay. No problem. No problem. Well, we had some good news. Julian Assange will be released after 5 years in a British prison following a plea deal with the U.S. Justice Department. Charged with conspiracy to obtain and disclose national defense information, Assange plea will lead to a 62-month sentence with the credit for time served. He is expected to return to Australia. Well, I have a little video of him getting on his plane after he's been out. The man's been through hell. Good to see you.
Is that right? And it's with the... well, it'll have a number. We don't. Okay.
Welcome home. He just told the truth is all he did. He told the truth. He broke the story about Hillary Clinton, the emails, and look what they did to this man. They took years of his life away. But you know what? The light always shines. That darkness, it is awesome news. Scratch my back, I scratch yours. Gravel is a great guest. Patriot. He sure is. But I'm so thankful that Assange is out. I'd be looking for some, I don't know. I just got a feeling that this is all part of the plan. Every bit of it's part of the plan. He didn't deserve to be in there in the first place. Well, today, a separation of powers concern. Judge Cannon grills Jack Smith's prosecutor over funding for special counsel. See, pretty much Jack Smith, he was asked, who's oversight? Do you have oversight? Well, no. Who do you answer to? Garland. Well, is that internal, external? That's internal. No, it's not. Congress did not vote to put you there as a special counsel. Their purpose is to make sure it would be fair. So Garland went outside of it to place someone that they know that would push their narrative to do their dirty business. If you do some research on this Jack Smith over in the other countries where he was, jury tampering, witness tampering, so freaking much. That's why I call him Dirty Jack Smith. because that's what he is. Judge Cannon is onto him. That's why she's asking the right questions. She is going to show the world the dirty shit that this man is and this whole corrupt system. I believe she is the only one who is going by the law. The only one. The rest of them judges, they should be all thrown in prison. Every single one of them should be thrown in prison. Period. But I believe she's onto it, and I believe she's trying to expose it all. But if there's no oversight, she even asked him, well, is there a cap over how much money you spend? No, there's no cap. So there's no checks and balances, no oversight. You wasn't chosen by Congress.
And he's on 2 cases. He's on the J6
That's a problem.
case and the documents case. I'll get into the documents case if you are going to keep the show going.
No,
all right, the documents case. I got into it with a dude today. He was a Dem. He's like, here's what he tried to tell me, because I had a security clearance. I had TSSCI, and I can say that that's not classified. I can admit the fact that I had a clearance. I can't talk about what I did or things I did or what was in those documents, but I can admit I had a TSSCI. And so I just want to give you the baseline on that.
Please do.
So some dude on TikTok was like, well, they're like, because they were trying to compare the Trump to Biden and how Biden did everything right and Trump did everything wrong. And I'm like, nope, you're wrong. And he goes, well, Trump had top secret SCI, which stands for sensitive compartmentalized information, right? That's what it stands for. And I'm like, well, how do you know that? And he goes, well, I don't. And I said, well, because how would you know that he had TSSCI? How would you know that, bro?
Right.
Because, and that's what makes this classified documents case or this documents case, whatever you want to call it. That's what makes this so absurd, because if you're going to accuse a man of a crime, right, of having classified and they go to trial, that means every single juror, every attorney, every judge or the judge, they all have to have security clearances to even read the fucking evidence, and I'm just like, oh my God. I don't,
you know that they
can't even do it in a public court country. They can't do it. They'd have to ask
they can't.
And read it, I mean, it's just absurd. It's absurd.
But they removed Trump's security clearance from him. Remember? Right after they removed it.
Yeah, and so every president is authorized the highest classification clearance, right? Because it's what they call, and this is the discussion I was having with this guy. It's called the Original Classification Authority, OCA, and the Declassification Authority, which stands that goes by DCA. So the OCA and the DCA, fundamentally, when you speak about a security clearance, that power, and it's actually constitutional, resides with the president of the United States. It's not some GS 10 or GS 8 at NARA or even in the FBI that says, oh, I deem you that you are the president of the United States and you therefore cannot have classified. That's not how it works. It just doesn't work like that. So when you guys hear, and we've all heard it, when you guys hear that Trump said he declassified it in his mind or in his brain or whatever he said, he's actually right. He could declassify anything like he doesn't need to write a document or anything. He said, hey, I declassified it. He actually can say that. The only person that can do that is the president.
It's the president.
So, and it's not Biden. So the fact that Trump, and I love what you were saying about Eileen Cannon, because what she's doing is she's probing. She's peeling back this onion. She's like, wait a minute.
It's interesting to watch unfold because we get a layer after layer after layer. And when she asked him finally, well, hey, well, let me know what you've been saying to who you're answering to. Can't do that. That's classified.
Right. And
I was like, okay, but she knew that answer. This woman's not stupid. She knew that answer. She knew he was going to come back with that answer. And she's always got one to come back with. You know what I'm saying? She's the judge. I mean,
know.
2 other people had already tried to get her off this case. And she's
Exactly.
standing firm. That's what I'm saying. People are like, well, I don't know about her. Look, not every decision or everything a judge makes you're going to agree with. But how do we know certain decisions she has made, she's had to make to get to where we're going at this point?
Well, I think
we're learning.
Yeah, and I think what she's doing, I recognize that she was a Trump-appointed federal judge. I recognize that, but I don't think I don't think she's siding with Trump. I think she's really trying to side with the law and constitutional law in particular. Like, okay, wait a minute, you said this. Okay, all these documents showed up. Where were and this is why Jack Smith might actually be in some trouble, because the boxes went from one place to another, and then somehow the boxes ended up in somebody else's hands, and then they were in
witness tampering. Evidence tampering, and he admitted to it.
I know.
She asked him point blank, and I don't know. Okay, you're the special freaking counsel, and the one thing you got Donald Trump on is classified documents, and you have no chain of custody. No chain of custody. You can't tell where they went, where they didn't go. They just went and they sat on a skiff for 30 days.
Yeah. So I wanted to talk to O Patriot real quick. O Patriot, from what I understand, here's what he said. I think.
Yeah, it was O Patriot.
Okay. From what I understand, Biden then reclassified them. So here's he cannot. All right. So that's actually an interesting question. Let me think through this for a minute.
Okay.
And this is what makes it kind of dynamic. If the president, the sitting president, is the original classification authority, so the documents that Trump had, and then also the DCA, the declassification authority, he can declassify anything he wants. Now, what if Biden reclassified documents, and this is where it gets tricky, is that he cannot reclassify documents that are in the hands of a current president who declassified them when he left office. And that's where this whole thing gets real kind of weird. But fundamentally, when I talk about OCA and DCA, Biden as a vice president and then a previous senator, I mean, he had documents everywhere. He had them in his garage next to his vet. He had them at the UPenn Biden Center. He had them in some storage facility. You can't, as the vice president, you can't do that. But when you bring that up to a Democrat, they're like, oh, well, he turned them back in. You know what? I'll tell you this, having had a clearance, if I walked out of a skiff, and if anybody doesn't know for the show what skiff means, sensitive, compartmented information facility. That's what a skiff is. And they're actually they have skiffs in the White House, in the White House. They also have them in Congress. So if senators or Congress people are going to get a classified briefing by whoever, they have to go into the skiff. They have to hand over their phones, or put their phones in a locker. You can't have any communication devices, nothing like that. They go in, you can't take notes. By the way, you can't take notes. You just got to hear the briefing, and you can read the documents, but you can't take the documents out with you. And that's what Biden did. It is a clear and cut crime. It is a crime.
How did he get them? How did he take the documents in the first place is the question.
I heard a story. I can't prove it, but he was like putting them in his briefcase or something like that. I don't know.
Who was, well, I mean, my God, the security we have is just so top notch. Man.
Yeah, no problem. No problem, Patriot. I hope I was able to answer that. I know it was kind of a not. I don't know if the answer was very clear or not.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Hopefully,
It was explained quite well.
Okay.
Absolutely.
So I don't understand because me, like if I did that when I had my clearance, if I did that, that's 25, 35 years in jail. And then if I tried to sell that information, which is espionage,
yep,
that's actually treason.
It's done.
It's treason.
Yeah.
You can be executed.
That's done.
That,
So, that being said, I get that a lot too. Well, Biden turned them over. Truthfully, Biden didn't turn them over. A lawyer found one. And then whatever happened in that meantime, then the FBI said, well, you know what? They told the archives, we're good. They treated Biden with respect. We're coming. We're going to get these documents. We're just letting you know. They didn't do the same to Trump. When Trump had every right to have the documents he had. And the documents they're saying that Trump had, that they're saying were about submarine and then all this other stuff. Those were planted.
Yeah, and that's the issue. I've seen those pictures, like they talk about the bathroom and the hall.
Do you think he's an OCD man? He's very clean, very OCD. Do you think he is going to? I mean, he is Donald Trump. He has Mar-a-Lago. He has Trump Towers. He's not no Biden. Biden's a Trump wannabe. See, Biden has his little houses here and there. Okay, he doesn't have a Mar-a-Lago, and he sure as hell doesn't have a Trump Tower.
No,
that man has people cleaning, and he is OCD. He's even stated as such. He's that way. People have talked about how OCD he is, that clean. Do you think he's going to have documents next to a toilet? Biden would. Do you think he's going to have documents just spread out with other crap in a box, just throw it there? No.
Do you think like Melania would allow that to happen? Because
my God,
looks like a pretty neat freak. I mean,
Jill would. We've seen how she dresses up the White House at holidays and shit. Absolutely, Jill would.
When I saw those pictures, I was like, when I saw those pictures of the boxes stacked in the bathroom, and there were like documents laid all over the floor, and they had all these pieces of paper over them that said, TSSCI or secret SCI or secret.
That's what the FBI, that was their cover sheets that they placed there.
Yeah.
That's what the FBI did. They placed that there.
Exactly. Exactly. And you know what? I've worked with those cover sheets before. Those could have been blank pieces of paper underneath that cover sheet. We don't know, or we don't even know. I mean, so I'll talk about transporting classified. You actually can transport classified, but you need and depending on, I mean, not boxes and boxes of them. Well, in Trump's case, you probably can. President's case, you probably can. But like how all those documents, and this is the part that also, when I'm talking about Biden, how did all that end up in his house? So one time, twice, it's called a classified courier, right? And here's the way it works. You go to so I was in the Air Force. So you go to your base level security office, basically, and they write you a letter that says you are authorized to carry, like, let's say a hard drive, for example, right? You're authorized to carry a hard drive. And you got to carry that letter with you at all times. They also issue you a lock bag, so it's like it zips up and then you lock it. And I hate to be so elementary here, but I'm trying to explain the process and how it works. So then you lock it.
Everybody's they're enjoying the heck out of this conversation.
Okay, so then you lock the bag. So like let's say you're traveling on, and you got to be on orders as well. You got to be on what we call TDY, temporary duty orders. So you got to have your orders, you got to have your classified courier document, you got to have your lock bag. Then when you go through TSA, you show TSA your courier letter and you show them the bag. You don't show them what's inside the bag, but you show them the bag, and they don't scan it. And what they'll do is they'll pass it through like outside the X-ray machine, and then they'll give it to you on the. You still have to go through X-ray, but they won't put the bag through it. And it's kind of like a government to government acknowledgement thing. You know, if you got a classified courier letter on you, we won't scan. But the letter itself is very specific. It says there's a hard drive in there with this serial number on it. You know, and I'm using that as an example. And I mean, they might kind of like handle it a little bit and be like, okay, that feels like a hard drive. You know, like a hard drive that you take out of the laptop, right? So then when you get to your destination, you got to contact the place you left and your boss, and then you got to check in at your destination's place with the classified. I mean, it is a whole process, and honestly, it's a pain in the fucking ass.
I don't deal with that particular kind of classified documents, but I deal with a lot of classified stuff, and I have to do that with bags and stuff if I travel and stuff. So I kind of understand where you're coming from with that. And once you get to point A, you have to check in, you have to take pictures. I mean, there's a lot involved. You have to do a lot with it. So when someone come in alive one night over there on TikTok and they tell me, oh, well, people leave there with classified documents all the time. They just leave there with them. And I'm like, what? And they're like, yeah, they get in there and they get in the skiff and they get briefed and everything. And a lot of times they just take it and they have it with them and they just forget to turn it in. I'm sitting here thinking, and this dude is telling me he was in the service and he was pretty big up there. I truly believe that they're plants to try to detour the truth is what I was gathering. I mean, I laughed at him. I was like, you're an idiot.
Well, he's a liar. He's a liar, just based on what I heard. I'm telling you. I'm telling you because I just explained the process, like how you actually can legally Now, maybe what he was saying was true, but if that is true, then what he did or what he's claiming is actually illegal. That can get you in a lot of trouble. So the process I just explained that is the legal way to transport classified. Here's the other thing too. You can't drink. You can't, while you're in possession of the classified, you know, so you can't go to the airport bar while you're waiting on your plane or whatever.
Well,
you have to go from point A, get on the plane, go to point B, drop it off. Right. Then you're free to go at that point. But it's all like tracked. So my point is that I can't not for the life of me figure out why Biden ended up with all this classified crap.
Because he had people on the inside. He's a Gestapo. I'm telling you, he's bigger. I think he's bigger than Godfather, truthfully, and I'm not giving him credit. I think that's a negative. I believe his hands is so dirty. You guys think I'm crazy. It might be why my name's Country Crazy. I went back many, many years to the beginning of Jim Biden's and Joe Biden's little business, but supposedly it was Jim Biden's business. The very first business that they had, they'd sell it off, they'd get another one, and it would change names, it would change companies, it would change hands. And if you go back and you have to, it's many, 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 many years. And y'all know y'all gonna think I'm a freaking crazy nut, but when I was following the paper trail, to me, and I actually made a video on this a few times, I believe it led to Burisma. It was built Burisma. I truly believe the reason why they put Hunter Biden in the helm of that, I believe they own Burisma. I truly believe that. I believe they started it from a small company and it built its way up because there's so many shell companies. I believe at the end of the day, they actually own Burisma. Why else would you put Hunter Biden at the helm of that when he didn't know shit?
You know
And
what?
Biden couldn't be at the helm of it.
It wouldn't surprise me, and that almost kind of lines up with why are we sending so much of our taxpayer damn money to Ukraine? You know, why is Zelensky not holding any elections? You know,
I know I'll get people saying you're a crazy country, but no, yeah, I do believe that they have always been the owners of Burisma, and they've had other people, and they needed shell companies, they needed fronts, they needed, let's say, buffers. China's involved, you need backers, and it grew to an immense amount. And the whole plan, the whole time, was that because they're untouchable. And the only way you're going to become this untouchable is with money and power. And you got to have a lot of money and you got to have a lot of power. And energy gives you a lot of power in the energy industry, which is what they had always started it, and it built its way up. And they also stated that there would be so many shell companies that they would never find out where the money came. If you start from the very beginning, I mean, I did this for a month. I went all the way back, followed their paper trail, followed their shell companies until it kept leading at the end to Burisma.
yeah, that's a good point, Country. I hadn't thought about it like that, but she actually that was kind of enlightening. I hadn't thought about that way, and I don't necessarily disagree with you. Here's the other thing too. You remember Trump's first impeachment was over the phone call to Zelensky.
Yes.
And I think
transcript as well.
I think so probably what you're saying, Trump already knew, and he called Zelensky and he's like, "Hey, tell me about Burisma. What is all this?" You know?
Bingo. If you go back, I'm telling you.
They impeached him.
Yep. And I'm telling you. And he had the authority to get rid of the prosecutor. And he talked about billions of dollars like it was chump change, like it was nothing.
I mean, I'll never understand how you can impeach a president over calling another head of state about a question that they may have. Like, I mean, it's so weird. It's like,
but if you have so much power in those countries, think about it. Biden went to Ukraine and stood on a podium and gave some kind of stupid ass address like he was the president of Ukraine.
Yeah, you're talking about where he said, if you don't fire this prosecutor, you're not getting your whatever.
That one, yeah. But recently, last year, was it? He went over there and he stood in front of the Ukrainian people at a podium. And they were yelling and screaming like he was the president of Ukraine.
Yeah, I know. You know what's so funny about the Ukraine and actually Palestine for that matter? Until Trump got into office, I mean, Palestine happened later, but until Trump, especially Ukraine, I'll say it on this note. Until Trump got into office, I seriously don't think the majority, especially the people that are like Ukraine, which is like the Democrats,
right?
I don't even think they knew Ukraine existed or even knew where it was. You know,
well, one time I ever knew about anything, this is God's truth about Ukraine, was you would be on your YouTube, social media, and a little dating thing would come across, date Ukrainian women. That's the only time I heard about Ukraine.
Yeah.
Personally.
Yeah. I mean, I had military history on Ukraine. It did used to be part of the USSR, which, as we all know, disbanded and whatnot. And actually, here's the other thing. A lot of people don't know. A lot of people don't know is the Ukrainians were actually Nazi friendly.
Yes.
And a lot of Ukrainians actually participated in the Holocaust.
Yes.
And a lot
There's
of people
lots
don't know
still
that.
Nazi. There's
They-
still quite a few that are that way.
yeah, they think Ukraine is like this special golden place held upon high in God's eye and whatnot. No, there are actually a bunch of Nazis that participated in the Holocaust. I'm telling you right now, that's what they are. I'm not saying every Ukrainian is like that. I'm saying that is the history of Ukraine.
Oh yeah, definitely.
I
But I
mean,
think there's a lot of players.
yeah.
Players in it.
Oh, yeah. I'm glad you brought that point up. I mean, that could be very, because I just cannot figure out when you said what you said about they may have owned it. That got me thinking. I'm like, well, shit. You know,
Do you really think the Chinese are going to let Hunter Biden, a crack pipe smoking drug addict, and I'm not saying ain't nothing against it. Addiction's addiction. I'm referring to Hunter Biden and Hunter Biden alone. Okay. Do you really think they're going to let someone like that at the helm of billions and billions of dollars?
No.
Okay. The only reason why you would do that is because you need a front man. You need a fall guy. In the best interest of that company, you always put family at the head of a company most of the time when you want to look out for its best interest in some way. So you put him at the helm of it as a fall guy. If anything happens, look here, don't look here.
Yep.
Jim Biden involved. And then you've got 255 bank accounts. 255 bank accounts. Then you've got all this property. There are bank accounts they probably will never figure out. And they even stated it. They're so wealthy. You don't get that way off small little companies and little investments. I'm telling you, they own Burisma. They owned that energy company. I'm telling you, they did. They needed the fronts. They had shell companies. They started out small. They made investments. Then he started the foreign policy Biden Penn Center. Foreign policy of all things, foreign policy. You would have to be set pretty good in a good position and have authority to do so. And what better way? Let's get Ukraine. Let's get us a country and let's just run it because they treat Biden as if he is a president over there. And you got Zelensky, an idiot, a buffoon who has been placed there. They rigged the elections. That election was stolen as well. They have positioned themselves where they need to be. And how else are you going to be able to have enough power? You, like I said, in order to have power, you have to have money. You have to have interest of businesses that matter to where, hey, this is a big deal.
You have to like sell something, or
exactly. I know people say you're crazy,
but no, it's like, okay, well, what product are you offering here? What is the? I mean, I understand. I do consult country, and I do it on my own, and I do it from home. And I get I got my own little LLC going on, and it's mostly on aviation and a little bit of counterterrorism stuff. So I do consult, but what I guess, like the way I would say it is I'm selling my particular specific experience based on my background, but I mean, and I get the consulting thing, and that is the part that doesn't make sense to me about Hunter, is that he had no, like, I can't be a consultant to Boeing or whoever on why their doors are falling off,
if I've never experienced it, if I don't know anything about it. So he was there for looks. Daddy, he probably went to Daddy, I need a place. I want to be in the company, Dad. I'm tired of being an attorney or whatever. I want to be in the company. They placed him there, I'm telling you. Then they set up these deals, child trafficking, human trafficking. Okay. They made deals with the cartel. Borders open. For every immigrant that comes across that border, it's connected to Kazakhstan and other company. There's just one company. It's like CBP1, like the cell phones. There's another company. And they get so much of a percentage off every immigrant that comes across the border. I've done tons of research on this.
Yep. And
tons of research on this.
Patriot, Patriot was saying goodnight. Said goodnight to you.
Oh, good night. Good night, Patriot. You need a 1-800 number to call the White House every day to complain. I'm serious. At this time, Miss Deborah will get that right out to you.
Yeah, just flood them. Flood them and call your car.
Good night, Patriot. Thank you for coming in. A lot of mission trips through the years have gone to Ukraine and spread the word of God and humanity work. There have been a lot of mission trips, absolutely, in every country. You're going to have good in other areas, but it has not come from the Bidens. Not at all. That's why the whole family's got you can't put all that money and all this business in one person. You got to spread it out. You know, you have a daughter, you have a cousin. I bet you they go find a cousin to a cousin to a cousin, and they'll find that there's bank accounts in those names. These people are dirty. And these people have power. That's why we call them Gestapo, because they have the power. They're working with another country, and God knows what other countries they're working with. They've made deals with through the years. Scratch my back, scratch yours. But that's my theory. That's my theory on it.
I mean, there's always going to be. No, you're right, country. There's always going to be like shady, under the table business. But we're talking about. What we're talking about in this case is the presidency, the U.S. president. I mean, that cannot be looked past. And you know, again, as you brought that up, that got me thinking. I'm like, damn, Trump made a call to Zelensky, and then the next thing you knew, they impeached him. Yep. I'm like, okay, now I'm thinking about it like that. I'm like, wow.
And then he called Poroshenko and told Poroshenko that he didn't want Trump to send all this money and find out about what was going on in Ukraine, acting like Trump was the problem all the whole time. They are the ones doing it all. He just didn't want Trump. Trump was getting too close with that phone call. If you read the transcripts or you heard it, Trump got way too close. And even Zelensky at one point said, in the phone call, if you read the transcript, he was going to help Donald Trump.
Yeah, you know, and the thing with Zelensky, that is interesting. I think I can't really put my finger on him, if you will, but I think he had good intentions, but I think he kind of fell into a hole that he can't get out of now. You know, that is.
He can always call Sean Penn up. Sean, if you're listening, your buddy needs you.
Well, and then you got Putin's like, hey, I'm taking my shit back. And Zelensky's like, uh-oh, I'm in some trouble now.
And he's begging, Trump, 24 hours. Do you really think Trump will give you the freaking time of day? Unless that was some kind of code. I don't know. There's a lot of things being said. Who the hell knows anymore? Right. I just know Trump is the right man for this country. Trump is the right man to turn it around. I know that. He loves the American people. He's not a career politician. He's a businessman. And a businessman like that knows how to make money for the American people, and to where the American people can make money and they can live. They will actually be able to live and not struggle. But this administration, they do not want you to live. They want to control. They want 15-minute cities. They want utter control. They get you in a spot where they can control you. You'll never go outside that. You will be chastised. They will put you in encampments if you disagree. He has to be voted out, plain and simple. The whole bunch of them.
And I think at this point now, I mean, things are so bad or getting so bad that, I mean, Trump's only got one more term. So he's got 4 years to get this train on the track, and he has got to pick the right VP.
And I think he's there. I think
Because
he's got it.
we can never let this happen again. As Americans, I'm not saying like never.
Oh,
I'm not like saying like never vote for a Democrat or anything like that. I'm saying like this far left
you're
corruption.
gonna have to vet the Democrats.
Oh yeah. Oh, certainly.
You're gonna have to vet the Democrats to no end. And I tell people, when you go to vote for someone, don't just go by what they have said at that time to make you okay. This is what I want. Look at their history. Look at how they've carried themselves. Look at the stuff they've said previous, because they've been in office, I'm sure, in some other means, maybe a governor, a mayor, or something like that, something before the next step they're wanting to get in. Look at what they did for the cities. Look what they did for that state. Look what they did for the people. And if they didn't do any of the shit they were supposed to do, you have your answer. It's that simple. It really is that simple.
No, I agree. I mean, and especially a governor or even a congressman or a senator, look at how they governed. But especially a governor. Look at how they governed. I mean, if you look at, I mean, I don't know how people feel about DeSantis. I mean, I don't live in Florida. Doesn't seem like a bad guy to me. He's a veteran. I know people have their issues with him. People call him like a Soros owned. I don't really know about that. I like Kristi Noem, but she has that dog story now kind of hanging over her. But yeah, I mean, a governor is a good way to look at. I mean, Reagan was a governor, and
he was an actor. He was an actor as well.
yeah, he was an actor, and then he got into politics, and then he became the governor of California as a Democrat. By the way, he switched to the Republican Party almost exactly like Trump did. It's interesting. It's interesting that a lot of our great presidents were Democrats at one time, and I don't know, maybe saw the light or didn't like the bullshit or whatever, and they all became Republicans. They're like, I'm not dealing with Democrats anymore.
They seen the light. They seen the light. They seen the bullshit that was going on. They saw it all. They know.
Yep.
They know. And I don't remember when this video was taken. I know it was in 2020 or in 2021. I don't know who this guy is. I went and tried to find out who he is. You might know. But I found this interesting when he wouldn't answer the way the guy asking the question wanted the question answered.
Is Joseph R. Biden of Delaware the duly elected and lawfully serving president of the United States of America?
He is the president of this country.
Is he the duly elected and lawfully serving president of the United States?
He is the president of our country.
Are you answering that omitting the language duly elected and lawfully serving purposefully?
I'm answering the question. He is the president of the United States.
And you have no view as to whether he was duly elected or is lawfully serving?
I'm telling you, he's the president of the United States.
No further questions.
Actually, the first time I saw that video was right before I came on your show tonight. I got to look into that. I don't know who that is.
Okay.
Yeah.
I remember at the beginning, in 2021, it came out, and I was like, even other people know, but I didn't know who he was. I didn't have time really to find out who he was. I'd seen it once before, but as you know, 40 accounts later, those videos get lost. But that's why I have Telegram now, because now I place every video on Telegram. That way I have a backup, so they can take my account all day long. I've still got the video.
Is that how you show these videos, is through Telegram?
No, I edit, I cut, and I put these in actual StreamYard. But I have Telegram as well that I pull the long, because I'm only allowed 2 minutes. So videos that are 2 minutes or more, I load on Telegram and I pull Telegram through here. That's what you see when I bring it up on the screen and we're on the side. I'm learning this little thing. I love this program.
Hey, you're doing great. You got a great show. I don't even have a background.
Thank you.
All you see is my wall.
Get you a green screen. Hey, I got the tapestry on Amazon. I only paid, I think it was like $15 for it.
Well, I'm doing a little redecorating. So there'll be an American flag behind me pretty soon.
Yeah, I can't wait to see it. I can't wait to see it.
Yeah.
I have a couple funny videos.
Go ahead. I'm gonna step away for a moment, country. If you're okay with that, I got to use the restroom. I'll mute my.
Go ahead.
Okay, thank
You're
you.
fine. You're fine, sweetie. Well, I'm just curious about a fish. I saw this video and I'm really like I didn't know these things existed. I had no idea these things existed.
With human lips?
That is a fish, people. That's a fish. What? Are they putting human DNA in fish? Are they hybriding or whatever you call it? I just know that that's a pretty, that was pretty freaky looking for me. It really was. Well, Amanda Bynes, you guys remember Amanda Bynes, beautiful Amanda Bynes. She was an American former actress. Bynes began her career as a child. She was appearing on Nickelodeon, sketch comedy series, and spin-off series and, different movies. I always loved watching her in a lot of the Nickelodeon movies. The kids grew up watching her. Good night, Deborah. Well, here is Amanda Bynes now, and the pain I see in her eyes. What did Hollywood do to her? Doesn't even look like her, does it? But that pain in her eyes looks terrifying. Absolutely terrifying, I just don't understand it. Well, here is a pride parade that was in Berlin. I had a video of a pride parade as well in the month of June because it's Pride Month. And if you have children, I would not let them be around it. I just tell you that now. But this is disgusting and disgraceful. It is just, it's horrible. Well, I probably can't show it because I'm streaming on YouTube as well, and but it is awful.
Вот, пожалуйста, вам Европа. Обратите внимание на этих людей. Это все, хана Европе. Вот он. Можете ее взять свободно, чисто свободными руками. Вот дьявольское отродье.
That's your pride parades. I've seen that here, even in the States. That is the pride parades. I don't understand. Why is it so important that you have to go around just letting it all hang out? And there were kids there. There was children around. It is an abomination. I mean, I don't get it. I really don't. You guys remember John Selter? He was on The Bachelor. I don't remember what year he was on The Bachelor. But I have a couple of videos, and I'm not throwing no shade towards this person. I'm going to reiterate after the end of the second video that I'll be showing.
Hey everyone, sorry I look like a hot mess today. I just wanted to vent a little bit. I feel like dates can be so cheap. The last couple of dates that I've gone on, I've expected the guy to pay because I feel like the man should pay for the first date, and they just don't want to. And so I just had a date earlier this afternoon, and I sat there when the bill came, and finally I just said, the guy should pay first, and kind of pushed it towards him, and he said, well, in that case, you should pay. And I just thought, that is so rude. And I just don't understand what the issue is. I feel like everyone's trying to get something for free these days. I don't understand. I just want to go on a date and have the man be a gentleman and treat me right, treat me like a woman. So if any of you are having the same experience, let me know. Hey everyone. Hey everyone. So it's day 10 of being a girl, and I am feeling fabulous. I think one thing that helps is just waking up and doing my makeup every day, getting pretty, really makes me feel like the strong, independent woman that I am. I don't need anybody's help. I can do everything on my own. And having a face full of makeup really helps me feel and embody that strong woman that I feel like on the inside. So if you know what I'm talking about, drop a comment. Bye, everyone.
Okay, as a woman, there's a lot I have up in this. Look, if you want to be a trans woman, be a trans woman. I'm gonna love you the same. I have friends that are trans, and they respect the boundaries. I'm a woman. I'm a female. I got all female parts. I am a woman, so I know what it's like to be a woman. So when someone is trying to state and they are full-fledged male, and they want to come out and they want to say, hey, I'm a woman. Say you're a trans woman, okay? But you're not a woman. You never will be a woman, period. I am a woman. So I'm going to tell you, wear your makeup, wear your dresses, do your thing, boo. But you will not ever be a woman, okay? You just won't be. I am a woman. And so by you stating that, and they want you to accept them as a woman, you are trying to take away my woman power, because baby, I got woman power, period. You never will. You do not understand and never will know what it is like to be a woman. Stay in your fucking lane. I can't say that on TikTok, but I can say that here.
Hey, country. So on your, I was able to glance at your videos. I'll give you a fun little fact here in just a second. The animal, that fish thing that you showed. You know what? When I first moved out here to Arizona, I live like right behind my house. There's a big ass mountain, right? Mm-hmm. And there's these things that are called like javelinas or something. They're like a cross between a pig and a dog. And there was a whole herd of them that came down. There was like 10 of them. They came down from the mountain, and I'm fenced off. They were trying to like get through my fence. So I called my neighbor, and I'm like, I took a picture of them, and I called my neighbor, and I'm like, what the hell are these things? And he's like, they're called javelinas. I'm like, or whatever they're called. It's something like that. I go, well, are they dangerous? And he goes, no, not really. All you need to do is just grab your 9mm or your 380 and just shoot it into the mountain, and you'll scare them off. I'm like, well, do they bite? You know, and I'm like, you know, he's like, no, they don't. He goes, they just cause problems. Now here's a fun. So I'll move on from your fish video. Fun little fact. I'm actually so this goes to your next two videos, and I'll get into the tea thing here in a second. But fun little fact, it's actually an association. I'm the grandson of a Hollywood actress. Mm-hmm. She played Winnie on Mr. Ed. And
oh my God.
My grandmother. I used to. Yeah, and she was on Bonanza and Little House of the Prairie and a bunch of Twilight Zones and whatnot.
What was she on Little House on Prairie? I watched that all the time.
She, you know, I don't remember. She was like episodic, like she would be on an episode and then would be on an episode a little bit later.
Well, find out and let me know, because I watch it even to this day. That is my go-to. That's my feel good. That's my piece.
Yeah, she wasn't one of the main characters, and she was never like a main character. But the fun little fact about this is that she retired probably when I was about 10 years old. She just got out of the business altogether and moved away from Hollywood. She moved up to Central California, San Luis Obispo, and she did very well. She was also actually a Broadway actress. She did very well. She was on, but she told me one time she took my sister and I to, or a couple times actually, took us to the set. You'd actually be surprised. At least this was the Hollywood back then. She was babysitting me and my sister because my parents were at work, and she drove to the set. And I mean, she had undergarments on, but she had her bathrobe on, and her hair was wrapped in a towel. And we get to the set. I want to say it was Warner Brothers, and we get to the set, or may have been Paramount. I can't really remember, but she's like, "You two sit down, be quiet. If you want food, go in there. So on and so forth. There's food in there." And then she would go into her dressing room, and she would come out, and she was all like glammed up, and I was like, man, my grandmother's beautiful, and but it was funny because she told my parents, and this goes to your Hollywood videos, and I'll get to the T one here in a moment. She told my parents, she kind of like saw it coming. She told my parents, she goes, "Don't ever let the children get into Hollywood, ever."
Wow.
And I don't think Hollywood, maybe she knew something that I didn't know at the time, but like, if you look at like those videos you just showed, the Corey Feldmans, the Corey Haim, a lot, I mean, the Drew Barrymores, even though Drew kind of turned herself around, she knew something was up with Hollywood, and just especially the child actors, just how it kind of screws them up. I know I'm kind of rambling. I just thought I'd share that.
No, you're fine. I enjoyed that. Thank you for sharing it.
Yeah, it's actually like a society or something. It's or an association. I don't know what you call it, but yeah, I'm the grandson of a Hollywood actress, and so.
Well, I used to watch Mr. Ed growing up.
Yeah, so if you ever
watch in the morning,
and you see a character, she's the next door neighbor. I think
I know who you're talking about.
Yeah, Winnie. That's my grandma.
Wow, what a pleasure! Wow.
Yeah,
is she still alive?
No, she passed away back in the. She passed away in '96.
Oh yeah, she would be pretty old if she's still alive now. She'd be
she's been gone a while. My sister and I, though, it's funny. Anytime, because she, she took care of us. She took care of us, but all her royalties, they come to me and my sister now. Whenever they play her episode. So even 70, 60 years later, depending on what episode is played on what show or, whatever, my sister and I still it's not a lot of money. It's like $50 or $75 or whatever, but we get a little direct deposit,
But we need to revamp that show. We need to bring it back out and say, hey, get it going.
We need to revamp all those healthy shows. Mr. Ed, Bonanza, Little House on the Prairie, not this crap that's on TV now, at least for the children. And then to that tea thing, or that tea guy, I mean, here's my thing. Here's my thing with that. If you're trans, and actually when I do host a live, I actually have a few, like, no kidding, they're Republicans, and they are trans. They are.
And I have great friends. Yeah, I do.
Yeah, and they come up in my lives all the time, and they are so against all of that nonsense, like what that guy from The Bachelor, I think you said it was The Bachelor. They are so against people like that, like just pretending to be a woman for the day or the week or the year or the month or whatever you call it. And here's the other problem with the trans thing. This is my personal issue. All right, I don't know how you feel about abortion, and I'm not going to ask. But with the abortion thing,
I think every life matters. I don't agree with it.
Okay, I don't either. And I've never had to go through it. I've never experienced that with a woman. I have 2 beautiful sons, so on and so forth. But here's what I don't understand about Democrats is that they are for unaliving the unborn, but they're against, I guess, they're against women tolerating men coming into their spaces, playing in their sports. It just doesn't make any sense because they're like, their argument is, oh, the Republicans and Trump are taking women's rights away. But at the same time, women, and this is to what your point was right before I started talking, you're a woman. I don't think you want a man in your space unless he's your partner.
No. Correct.
I mean, and it just doesn't, it's like they're talking out of both sides of their mouth. And it doesn't make sense. It's like they're just going with the flow. And it's not, again, I'm like you, I'm not against trans, but like these pretend, I call them pretend trans, or attention trans. I don't understand it, but they are staunch. The Democrats are staunch about it's okay to unalive the unborn, but it's also okay to let men participate in women's sports. I don't know if you've heard about this, but it is a political topic. This Title IX thing that Biden tried to say, I'm just going to reverse Title IX. And now like 10 states, and Title IX is as for your audience, Title IX is that protects women in sports and spaces and everything else. And Biden just tried to unilaterally overturn it. That is a fucking dictator. Sorry for cursing, but that is a dictator. And now 10 states have sued him for that. I mean, I don't see how that's possible. And I don't see how the Dems don't see that. I'm sorry. I'm very passionate about this.
No, you should be.
But yeah,
this is a subject you should be. Because this is something that's going to lead our kids, our grandkids, the future generations into the next generation. And they need to have it. I don't understand it. I mean, look, you're male and female. That's what God created, period. God created man and created woman. Okay. And you want to wake up one day and you want to wear makeup, you want to wear dresses, you want to feel like a woman. Hey, more power to you. That's between you and God. All right. I ain't put down in your whatever. That's your choice. Wouldn't be my choice, but that's your choice. Okay. But don't for 1 second think that you're going to come in my space, me being a woman. I've given birth to 3 kids. I have lost a child. I have felt that pain. And how dare you say you're a woman? To me, it's comical. It's circus. It's circus crazy because you will never know what it's like. I don't care if they come up with some kind of fake uterus or something like that and they put in a man. You're still never going to be a woman. You can put all the makeup on you want. You can put all the wigs on. You can grow your hair out. You can wear all the dresses you want. You can do it all. More power to you. But stay in your lane. State the facts. You're a trans woman. I don't even like you having the woman name there, but you're a trans woman. You are not a woman, okay? You're just not. You have no right to be in my lane as a woman. I was born a woman. I am a woman. I go through the changes. I go through the menopause. I go through the breasts getting bigger and falling. I go through the parts of my body and the cellulite and the other areas I don't like and I do like. Okay. I go through the hair loss. I go through the emotional roller coaster ride. I don't have to take testosterone. I don't have to take all these shots to feel what a woman's like. That should tell you millions right there. That should just tell you enough. You are not a woman if you got a fake being a woman. Okay, you'll never be a woman. I'm a woman, and it is something by God you'll never take from me.
And you know what? You know what, country? And this is why I'm passionate about it, because I love, care, and respect for women, and respect women. And I think it's actually unfair what's happening to women. And I'll get to the kids thing in a minute here. But not only just that, I actually feel that there is a large part of the LGBT community that are actually true, and it's pissing them off too. And
it is, because it's it's giving them a bad look.
I feel like their community was hijacked.
Right, right.
I got two dear friends. I've been friends with them. They were both married at one. They're gay. They were married at one point. This was 20 plus years ago. You would actually never know they're gay. They're not like feminine gay. I don't know what right word to use is, but I go snowboarding with them every year. They got partners, they got kids, all that. And it was the last snowboarding season, because we always meet up in Breckenridge. They were like, I was asking them, and I talked to them too, over the phone and whatnot. But I was like, hey, what is going on with this whole rainbow pride stuff? What is up? And they're like, we have no idea, Gravel. It's pissing us off too. We got our rights. We're able to be married. No other rights have been taken from us. Now, I know that community, the LGB part of the community, went through a pretty rough time at one time. And what they told me, they said, you know what, but we suffered a bit, but we got through it, and we did it. We got through it legally. And, now, and then the way they explained it, they said, then it got dropped. Nobody cared anymore, honestly. And then boom, all of a sudden Biden comes into office, and now this whole thing just exploded again on everyone, and then I also agree with you, like with the kids, it's like, if you want to be, and actually my buddies, they're actually really against that too, because they're like, our kids, all of their kids are straight, and they're like, we don't want this. We don't want sexuality pushed on our children.
Right.
But
why do you have to, if you want to express, in a parade, and it be whatever, pride parade, why must you just full-fledged want to let your dick hang out? That to me is sick, and that's you being a pedophile, especially if kids are around. You should never want to do that. So just think, these are going to be people that will have children, and I find that disturbing. I find that very disturbing. That honestly, I believe, set the stage to where those children are going to be sexually abused.
Oh yeah, for sure. And the other part I find disturbing, whether it's a parade or the teachers, or whatever.
Exactly.
I find it disturbing that part. I'll just say that part of the community, especially the left lunatics, they feel like it's not like I'm trying to think of how to say it. It's like they demand that children know this and understand it. And I'm like, what the F is wrong with you people? They
got some serious mental issues, but they also are perverts. They're pedophiles.
Agreed.
That is what they are. Period. There's no other thing about it. If you want to walk around with your dick hanging out in front of a child, you are a pervert and you are a pedophile. That is what you are.
Yeah, exactly. And on Trump's Agenda 47, right? One of his agenda items is No more of this shit being taught to the kids. But when you talk to, if you're in a live or you talk to that's the only time I ever talk to Democrats is if I'm in a live, because I no longer have any Democrat friends, to be honest. I mean,
when you said Trump.
Yeah, I got a couple, but that's about it. Not like I used to have. Used to not matter, but when they're like, well, Trump wants to get rid of, he wants to do away with the LGBTQ community, and it's on his agenda 47.
No.
And I'm like, okay, wait a minute. So I go and I look it up and I read it to them. And all it says is that Trump doesn't want this shit taught to kids. That's all it says. It says nothing about imprisoning the LGBTQ community. It says nothing about, we're going to, change your mind or, anything like that. All he's getting at is that I'm not going, if you teach this shit in schools, you will lose your federal funding. That's all he said. And I don't have a problem with that. I respect that, but they're like,
amazing, Jen.
Go
ahead. I was just answering the question. She said Agenda 47 is amazing.
It is. It absolutely is. And Jen, thanks for all the comments too. I appreciate the support. I'm just a guest here. This is Country's show. But
oh no, Gravel! It's been a pleasure having you here. Actually, this is the longest I think we went on here. Usually we go like an hour or something, but you get into these topics that need to be spoken about and good conversation, and that's what we have to do. We have to talk about it. We can't be afraid. I mean, because every other platform you can't talk about it, or I'd already be talking about it. You talk about it to a certain extent, and what words to improvise with, not get banned, but it needs to be said. It needs to be said because more people need to stand up against this.
Yeah, exactly. And like, I honestly, I mean, you and I have talked about this before when I was a guest previously. I'm getting tired of the TikTok censorship and using all the code words and, all that. I mean, that's why I enjoy coming here because we can, all of your guests that I've seen, everybody's respectful. Everybody's polite. People in the comments are polite.
They are.
And courteous. And, you can actually say the word, you can actually say, hey, I shot my gun at these animals and I didn't even know what they were.
What's Smatter Chew? Are you familiar with Smatter Chew?
What's that?
Do you know Smatter Chew? He's come on a few times before, not with us, but he's been on before. He actually has a channel here on Rumble now, and he does nothing but show you how to clean your guns, how to load your guns, what kind of guns they are, and he has a great time doing it. He has a wonderful time doing it. He jumps into it. So you can freely do it. And I'm thankful we have a platform to go to do this.
Here's my 380 that sits right next to me at all times.
Hey, you need to keep it. Awesome. Here's a video. It's a comedy video.
Next to me. It's right next to me at all times.
Make sure nobody will come in. Hey, we're in Arizona. You got to be prepared. Well, everywhere you got to be prepared.
I didn't mean that in any sort of a mean way or anything like that.
No.
We can do that on this channel,
Yes. It's a lot. It's refreshing. It really is refreshing to do it. It is. What would you do if you had an uncle and you just really wanted to play a really mean joke on him? And just go.
I blame you. Voting for Joe Biden.
Man, this is not no time to be trying to.
No. If you didn't vote for Joe Biden, we wouldn't be doing this. I told you not to vote for him.
Man, I ain't talking about vote for nobody. Need to take shelter. They tell you what the fuck to do.
Hide under the bed then. Go with Joe Biden, hide under the bed then.
Hide under the bed. You got to go. you know
to the police station. Ain't nowhere to go but the police station. Where we gonna go?
Do you know it's a sick shelter? That means
the police station.
Fuck the police station. The police station can't do a motherfucking thing.
Command has detected the launch of 12 nuclear missiles aimed towards the mainland United States. 4 of the 12 missiles launched have been intercepted. The 8 remaining.
So they about to come to America, Russia here. They here.
So we got to get the fuck out of here. We got to find. See, how you listen to what they saying?
Okay, get under the bed. Hurry up, hurry up, hurry up.
You get under the fucking bed. 6 shelter.
Under the bed. They blowing missiles and everything. The bed protect you.
What the fuck bag gonna do a motherfucking thing?
If you hiding under the bed, that's what they taught us in school. Get under the thing to do this. Hurry up.
Man,
move the bed, move the bed, move the bed.
You got to go. We got to go find some. No, you get on the bed. Go in the fucking basement.
I knew it.
He pulled a good one on him, didn't he? He pulled a good one on him. Well, Gravel, it's almost midnight. I got to get up in about 5 hours and go to work.
No problem. I get you. I get you, sweetheart. One thing about that video. One thing about that video that's funny, whether it's an EMP, a nuke, or some sort of disaster, which I don't know, may happen. Yeah. I mean, people don't really realize. And Sean and I talk about this a lot, and I know he's one of your other guests. We talk about like survival and preparedness. It's 72 hours at most. If we lose the grid or we lose the internet,
right?
Or, it's 72 hours, and then it's over. It's gonna descend into chaos.
Absolutely.
It was funny watching that video though, because they were just watch that video. I was sitting there thinking, they're like,
you Joe, it's your fault. You voted for Joe Biden.
All right, country. I appreciate you having me up.
Thank you, Gene. They said, Jen, great show. Well, Gravel, with that, thank you so much for coming on. It's been a pleasure. Anytime. Sorry for the short notice, but sometimes I get off work at 5 and it takes a lot of work getting all this stuff loaded.
Hey, just let me know. Let me know.
Always.
If I'm not a guest, I'll be on the show in the comments.
You always are, and I appreciate that. Everyone in the comment section that you stuck it out with us, we really appreciate it. And everyone on YouTube, thank you so much for tuning in. And on X, we'll be back tomorrow night, 10 p.m. Eastern. You guys have a great Tuesday, and Country Crazy out.